Hey, good Tuesday morning to you, Catalina Foothills Church. This is Rob Pendley, and today we're looking towards this coming Sunday when we're going to talk about Christian worship. Psalm 95 says, "Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation." So first, what you notice in worship is that we are addressing and praising and adoring the rock of our salvation. We come into worship knowing this God has redeemed me. This God has redeemed us. This God will deliver us. Let's shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. That we're giving thanks, that we're acknowledging his kindness towards us. Just last night, Kim and I went to see this flower at Tahona Chul that only blooms for 8 hours a year. You heard me, 8 hours a year. And I just thought, man, how many of these flowers have bloomed through the centuries and only God has been there to enjoy them? Why does he make that? Why does he waste that kind of beauty where these things bloom and nobody might ever see them? Because he cares, because he's big, because he wants to see the glory of his own creation. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. Part of worship is recognizing there's a lot of false gods out there, and they're not just all religious. There's all kinds of false gods / idols that I give ear to, that are tempting for me. And this is a chance for us in worship to have our affections pulled off of those lesser things and planted firmly into the great God who is the King above all gods. In his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. We live in a great place to see some of this, not the sea, but to see the mountains and to think of all of the creation, that our God who has redeemed us, who is at work in us, who is sending us out on mission, that when we gather to worship, this is my Father's world. Also, in verse 7 and 8, "Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care." Do you realize, if you are a follower of Jesus Christ and you wonder whose you are, what team are you on? You belong to the great King above all gods. You belong to the great God. Why? Because Jesus Christ, the rock of our salvation, has made it so. And thanksgiving and extolling and exalting and all these things happen because we've seen afresh how great God is, how much we need him, and how sufficient his provision is for us in Jesus to deliver us from our sin, in Jesus to give us his Spirit to help us to walk with him. So we're going to talk about worship. I hope that today, maybe even in Psalm 95, you get a chance to think through and delight in that the Lord is our God, the great King. We are in his flock. Y'all have a good week. See you Sunday.